Look, we're stuck in the system, we can't get out. It's time for a change, stop running your mouth. I'm looking for words, but I can't get it out. Look for the light, but the sun blotted out.
Hold on, let me hop on the beat. Cause social injustice and prisoner mindset is something we gotta defeat. We idle these hoes and wear all these clothes with shoes that can't be creased. Steady looking for substance and change, but we searching all up in these streets.
Got a stain on my shirt that I can't get out. My people on high like the top of the mount. We thirsting for truth, but there's no spout. Look for a savior, but no one around.
But no one's around, but where do they look? It ain't in the church, it ain't in the book. We can't get a job, so we rather crook. They got us in chains, a fish on a hook.
Look, harvesting not bodies, harvesting not organs. Got 'em real big mad, cause they culture boring. Pimping the poor, Jim Crow at the door. Selling our souls, our daughters a whore. I wanna give in, can't take it no more. Don't wanna believe our people are more.
We swept our cup when we look at decline. We got a new bottle, it's filled with...
Hello, and welcome to another Malcolm Make a Culture Move podcast, where we cover everything from social intense social topics and funny social trends. We're your hosts, Mark Jonathan,
Tabitha,
G.
And as always, we have a wonderful segment for you all today. But before we get started, if we can have our brief disclaimer.
So, here at the Malcolm Podcast, the Make a Culture Move podcast, we cover a lot of intense social topics, and we just hope that you do not hold Malcolm accountable for the opinions expressed here, because they do not represent Malcolm as a whole. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So I just want to start off by saying Happy Black History Month. And it should be celebrated year-round, but hey, what's up, Gadiel? Appreciate you for rocking with us another time. But we could go ahead and jump into our first segment.
So what's our first segment? Are we going into...
So, yeah, we'll do the Tiny and T.I. situation. So have you guys heard of this, right?
Go ahead, Tab.
I was gonna say, other than that little controversy that was going on with finding out whether or not their daughter was still a virgin and going through the test of doing that, I don't know if that's exactly if that's what we're talking about.
No, T.I.'s getting accused of sexual assault.
Yeah.
This is something completely different. T.I.'s been accused of sexual assault. So, he came out and talked about it, but, I don't want to, go ahead, Mark.
So I guess I didn't know.
So, we could go ahead and pull up the article, but it's basically what G already said. I believe it was 15 girls that I'm going to say, I don't want to downplay it, but everybody's saying supposedly making accusations, and some of them are fake, some of them are real. I have no clue, but I have no clue. But jumping into the article, I was reading some of the screenshots on Instagram, and it's crazy some of the stuff that they were saying, and just being kind of a T.I. fan since
forever.
As long as exactly I couldn't see it, but you never really know who's a sexual predator until for real. You feel me? It's just real weird. And then I think they saying that Tiny has something to do with it too. But if we could just jump into this article.
Okay.
I know it's crazy. You're gonna have to get canceled like R. Kelly.
Oh God.
Right. So T.I. and Tiny deny appalling sexual abuse allegations.
Okay. What are these allegations? Go ahead.
Wait, hold on. Let me full screen this. All right. So Sabrina Peterson has spoken further about her allegations. T.I. and his wife, Tamika Tiny Harris, are defending themselves against new allegations made online. Earlier this week, former friend Sabrina Peterson posted a series of DM screenshots from more than a dozen anonymous women who accused the rapper and his wife of sexual abuse and other transgressions. But as the claims started making headlines, T.I.'s rep released a statement on Friday, January 29th, denying the allegations. Mr. and Mrs. Harris wants to be on record and, more importantly, want the public to know empathetically they empathetically deny in the strongest way possible the egregiously appalling allegations being made against them by Sabrina Peterson. The statement read, "The Harrises have had difficulty with with this woman for well over a decade. They are taking this matter very seriously, and if these allegations don't end, they will take appropriate legal action." So, okay, hold on. After this statement was released, Sabrina took it to Instagram and wrote, "Let's take a detective test." Um, so I don't know if it's gonna show any of the screenshots, but I mean, it went from everything from like, and these I'm pretty sure are all underage girls as well, which kind of makes that, you know, nobody deserves to be like under that, but like it kind of trumps those allegations. But like I read a screenshot from a 16-year-old girl, and again, I'm gonna say supposedly because I think there was a time where they were proven to be false or fabricated or something of the sort. But they were saying all types of stuff like being lured backstage and like their friends not letting them leave and peer pressuring them to drink and that type of stuff. And I mean, like I said earlier, you never really know who's a sexual predator, but that's just a little crazy to me. How do you feel, Tabitha G?
Honestly, honestly though, when it comes to somebody being accused of sexual immorality, when it comes to like people being in like the limelight, so to speak, or being, you know, a person of stature in the community, a lot of times people falsely accuse people of stuff that they didn't do. So, you know, in my mind and how I look at the situation is you're innocent until proven guilty. So I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not going to pass judgment on you and say that you're guilty of all these things when first off, I don't know what all took place. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of like, we are all looking from the outside in. We don't know what's going on. When you're looking at the outside and you don't know what happened prior or anything like that. Cause I've never heard of T.I. or his wife ever committing such, you know, crimes as such. So if they had a history of doing something like that, it would make sense. But because there's no history of them doing something like that, it sounds a little bit, I don't know, iffy to
me. You know, I'm not gonna defend anybody, and I'm not gonna support anybody on this. I don't know T.I. and Tiny personally. You know, we don't know any celebrity personally. We only know what we're given. So it's like we don't know them personally, but at the same time, what we have been given in T.I. and Tiny's career, both together and separately, it just seems a little off to me. It's just something doesn't seem right about, you know, these allegations. But I don't want to dismiss her either because I don't know Sabrina Peterson. I don't know her. I don't know her relationship with Tiny and T.I. either. So I don't want to dismiss her and her allegations and be dismissive because if these allegations are true, and it's an if, I don't want to be dismissive to her because it is something that we have to put highlight on. We have to highlight if they are true. But if they're not true, we also have to put highlight on women like Sabrina Peterson if the allegations are not true, because there do happen to be those times where, you know, because of who people are, they get said allegations placed on them just because of who they are to knock them down some. So I mean it's tough. I mean, I hope that the allegations are not true for Tiny and T.I.'s benefit, for their career benefit, you know,
and as a fan base,
exactly. Like it's tough. It's really tough coming when it comes to, you know, situations like this and our celebrities and our iconic celebrities, our legendary celebrities like that. You feel me? T.I. makes moves in
for his people too.
Community man, yeah, as a community man, he makes moves for his community. He makes moves for his family. He's a family man. But then again, those are things that we have been given to see. So we don't know celebrities personally. We don't know who they are personally. We're only given what we are to be seen. So
I mean, I think the biggest piece of this is just the fact that it was like so many anonymous girls. You feel me? Like 15 is like
and
that's
that's
kind
with these
of
other cases when you look back at like R. Kelly situation,
uh-huh.
Bill Cosby situations, the names of those ladies, some of them were anonymous, but we got names. We got names and faces to those names. So it was kind of like, they putting faces to the names and names to the accusations. It's like, hold up, because if you're lying about something, you don't want to put your face on it. You don't want to put your name on it because you don't want to be caught up in that lie. But so it's the anonymity for me. It's the anonymity.
I don't know, because the thing is, sometimes I feel like people that are, semi-successful, people do lie because they know that there's a big payout for it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So that's why I'm saying, like, I'm not gonna pass any judgment or look at anybody any type of way until,
I want that.
until it's all the way, the case or whatever is all the way taken out, so we could like look at all observe the whole matter and not part of it. So we're not going to take little truths here and there and be like, okay, so this person's guilty because this person said this. That's kind of like that woman, and this is like an old school example. But Michael Jackson, right? He made that whole song, about Billie Jean, because she was trying to say that that child that she had was his. But they did the whole DNA test and everything, and it came to find out that wasn't even his child. If you look at a lot of these other shows, I watch Fertility Court because I just think that it's just hilarious. But women will sit up there and be like, this is his son, and we'll lie until the very end till we're caught up in the truth and all the facts are brought forth. So I think that, they deserve the same type of trial. I think they deserve for all the facts to be brought forth before they're presumed to be guilty. Because when you say that somebody has done something before you fully evaluate the full situation, despite the truth being brought out, in the back of your mind, you're going to be like, damn, this person has done X, Y, and Z, and that person never did any of that stuff to begin with.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree. If a woman is sexually assaulted by a man, will the man snitch mark? That's a interesting question. One, I feel like most women on male sexual assaults, like I've heard instances of, older women messing with like a 15-year-old, and some of that is seen as like, like cool or whatever, or acceptable. But like in reality, I think in that case, the man wouldn't snitch because, I mean, for the reasons I just said, they think it's acceptable. But like I watched Law and Order SVU, and there was a case where like a male stripper or whatever was like tied down and then sexually assaulted by a group of women. But like, and then of course he told. But I'm like, I think it's embarrassing for one, and I think it's embarrassing in all scenarios. It's a humiliation. So I think that's a reason why most rape victims don't come forward, or some feel like it's their fault. There's a number of different reasons why somebody wouldn't snitch or come forward, but I feel like if it's a man, I don't think he would come forward.
I feel like he should, though, because at the end of the day, like, I know a woman that sexually abused 2 kids, but she watched them do weird stuff to each other, and they were too young to really understand what they were doing. But because you're a boy and you're looking at, because the way society is set up, like the norms are set up, you're thought to be like, this is quote unquote a good situation. But in reality, it's not a good situation. I think that everybody should be held accountable for the stuff they do, including women and men. I think everybody needs to come forward, because at the end of the day, women are not the only ones with feelings, and they're not the only ones that have problems. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with Tabitha on that. Men definitely need to come forward when it happens, because it does happen, and because men don't come forward as often, that's why it's less likely to believed. So it sucks because when when a man does come out, you look at Johnny Depp's situation. When a man does come out, he's dismissed because of it, because it's not a common situation. When in reality it is a common situation. It happens to men very often. It's just not talked about. It's just not talked about, but it happens to men everywhere, and it happens to men often. And it starts with boys young because it's looked at as building their masculinity, when that's not how you're supposed to build a young boy's masculinity. You let them grow into that. So it happens very frequently, and because it's not talked about as often as it is with women being raped and molested, that's why it seems to be rare when it is talked about, when really it's not rare.
And you gotta think about, he had his eye on the thing, and he talked about how he got sexually assaulted as a young kid, you know what I'm saying, by another man. And that right there is even more hard for a man to talk about, because because of the way that society looks at people that has happened to. You're automatically deemed as being a homosexual and stuff like that, when you never ask for that stuff to willfully happen to you. So it's kind of like, we need to get out of that mindset that like sexual assault and things of that nature are not things that are supposed to be talked about, because that's the only way we're going to be able to heal as a community and as a people.
And not talking about it harms our Black men. That absolutely does. It hurt people. And so, and like in regards to like the R. Kelly situation, everyone goes over and dismisses the fact that R. Kelly was molested as a young child by family members. And so hurt people. He never got to heal from that. So his trauma from that, he inflicted onto other young girls. Not giving an excuse for him. Absolutely not giving no excuse. Just trying to give that visual as to how hurt people. And because in society it's not okay to talk about men's feelings, and it's not okay to talk about the trauma that men go through, they have to suck it in and just deal with it. And so how do you deal with that? You inflict that pain onto somebody else. Hurt people. We have to start the healing process.
Right, but we can't be blind out here instead of throwing resources to help you to heal, because I feel like when we say hurt people, I'm not saying, because you did say it's not as an excuse, but I think that, people are sexually assaulted. I was sexually assaulted, but I'm not going to inflict that trauma on someone else, because at the end of the day, I know how bad it hurt me. So I don't want to do somebody else like that. So
that's how it was looked at in your situation. And when you listen to the interviews and the stories from, their situation, it wasn't looked at as a harmful thing. It was something that they were forced to accept. So it is people go through similar things and get different results from it because of how they went through that situation. Not everybody goes through it the same way and gets the same feelings from that. Some people go through it and feel like it's acceptable. It happened to me, so it can happen to somebody else. It's acceptable. Some people go through it and it's like, it's not acceptable. It is not acceptable. You cannot continue this trend. You can't do it. Some people pick up on that and some people don't. And because in the Black community, we don't believe in therapy. We believe in what happens in this house stays in this house. That's toxic and it's trauma, and it's a lot of Black families' trauma. So you have to teach Black people that it is okay to not be okay. It is okay to admit that you need help. It is okay to admit that you were hurt. It is okay to admit that you were wrong. It is okay that you need somebody to lean on.
Right.
Definitely. I mean, yeah, pretty much everything has been said. But moving on to the next topic, and I want to just discuss this briefly so we have enough time for our discussion. So there was a recent video in Rochester, I believe, of a 9-year-old that was handcuffed, and she was already in the back of the squad car, and then she was handcuffed and then pepper sprayed. 9-year-old, they are not releasing the identity of the minor, for obvious reasons. But yeah, just jumping into this article. They got a video attached to it. Viewer discretion. It was crazy watching it earlier this morning. Had to bring it to but I'm ready for this discussion question because that was interesting. But
It's crazy. They out here macing kids, treating them like full-blown adults.
exactly, and they tried to downplay it by calling it I forget what they said. It was like a chemical irritant. That's what they said. They said a chemical irritant instead of just saying that they pepper sprayed her. Like, it's crazy how they try to downplay scenarios like this.
It happens. It's not excusing why it happens, but that's, yeah.
I'm saying. So again, this pepper sprayed 9-year-old.
Okay. So are we watching the video?
Please.
Okay. So sorry, y'all, if it takes a while to load. I think honestly, it could either be my internet or my computer. I'm not 100% sure.
An investigation will continue. Police used pepper spray on a 9-year-old girl. Body camera video of the incident has been released, and a warning: some may find this video disturbing. Police say one of the girl's parents told officers that she ran away from home and was going to harm herself and others. When officers encountered her, they say she became agitated and started kicking them. And that's when they took her to the ground and eventually handcuffed her in a patrol car. When the girl refused to listen to commands, police say they used an irritant on her. And this happened Friday. The girl has since been released to her family.
What? How are they going to just sit there and say they used the irritant rather than what they actually used?
Exactly. There's a second video. I encourage our viewers to go find it. But I mean, you could clearly see the person was just like, they shake the bottle first and then just all up in her face and stuff. And man, it was real sad to watch. I'm not sure for certain that the woman was black, but I thought I could see in the video that she was African American. I don't want to assume. I just don't see them doing that to anybody else personally. What do you guys feel about that?
Whether she was black or Hispanic, Native American, it don't even matter. These
Purple.
people are all the same. They do us all the same. You could obviously tell that she was a woman that had melanin in her skin. And so they treat all melanated people the same, brown. She's brown. That's how it is. So when it comes to these white people out here, nothing that they do surprise me anymore, honestly. Nothing they do, because nothing they do surprise me.
She was a child.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's like really all I have. She was a child.
And pepper spray hurt.
I've been maced by accident. Maced. They said they used the irritant. I've been maced on accident, and that was more than an irritant because I felt like it. Like the thing
I've been maced on purpose, and it is definitely an irritant. And at 9 years old, that could have killed her.
It could have,
because pepper spray
permanently damaged.
It could have blinded her, depending on where they pepper sprayed her. And anywhere in this image, she could have lost taste. She could have lost smell. She could have been blinded. She could have lost her hearing.
And they already had her handcuffed. They already had her handcuffed in the squad car.
You already have her handcuffed.
But my thing is, the part that gets me is they already had her handcuffed inside of the car, you know what I'm saying? And then you get her inside of that confined space. Mace makes it very difficult for people to breathe. So it's kind of like, I agree, her parents should sue them for $2.5 million. More. I definitely agree with that.
More.
Absolutely. But if that's all that had to be said, we can go ahead and move into our discussion.
That's crazy. That's all. That's my
last. Yeah, that was very ridiculous. She could have really harmed that girl. But so jumping.
I say we need to go mace a little 9-year-old white girl.
Absolutely. They put you under the jail probably.
Man.
But jumping into the discussion, have you guys heard of this one? So Rick Ross and the few others, I believe like The Dream or whatever, a few years back held like this competition to, they do like them song and singer competitions where they basically put them on or give them a chance to blow up. And this situation kind of arose because me personally, I mean, you guys will be able to tell for yourself, but I believe that the dark skinned girl did much better than the light skin. And you could just kind of see like how like Rick Ross and others weren't really even like it's real weird to say. I don't know if I necessarily call him a colorist. I'd be curious to know like what he based the judgment off of. But jumping into the YouTube video first, just so we can hear the difference between the two.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I feel like everybody has a preference, you know what I'm saying? And to be called a colorist because of your preference. Some women like dark skinned men, some women like light skinned men. That's their preference. So to be called like colorist, anything with an ist at the end, other than like a scientist or astrologist or something like that. Just those are just examples. Anything with an ist at the end automatically most of the time has a negative annotation because you're racist, you're colorist. I don't know. That's just how I'm looking. That's just how I'm looking at it. Anything with an ist, you know what I'm saying? Prejudice. I don't know. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me get this good old paper. Hopefully, we don't have any technical.
Could I get a 6-1 cigar, please?
Can I get a sweet tea?
I got a fine cigar over here to the side.
Jess, Ricky, you got me for the whole night. Baby, we gon' get it right. Oh, yeah, I don't like no leaders. Then put me in this liquid. Oh, no, give me a bit of boss. No worries at all. I can give you everything you need.
Your future bright, shorty, your future bright.
No.
The music was bright. Smartest move I like.
I knew the song Boss Vibes that I did was going to get Ross's attention because I went to his past and I redid something and I put my own little twist to it and he liked it. My whole goal of this whole competition is to be the first lady of MMG. That's what I want. I can look this good and I can get a lot of attention, but I use my valedictorian mind skills and I make sure I take care of my business. Me and another person had the same beat.
I'm really curious who has the other beat she has the same beat.
Oh, Kaya.
So y'all be able to hear the difference in R&B and hip hop.
Shots fired.
Kaya and I, we had the same beat. I wasn't trying to be mean or catty or anything. I just had to put it out there because I had to save myself.
Kaya, you better deliver, Kaya. I believe in you, Kaya.
Boy, you can have my heart and all my love. I'll give you back because my people is the judge. I know that you're fine for me. If it all that I can't see, so maybe it's a run
That wasn't the best platform for your voice.
Nope.
You have a unique voice. And Britt did sound better than yours.
What?
They like mine's best, so it is what it is.
Every time you present the music,
You can end it there.
So cut it. Let's talk about what it really is. Because in the industry, in the music industry, what they look for, especially nowadays, because you don't have to be a star. You don't have to be a star anymore, right? You don't have to be a star anymore. So just go ahead and talk about what it is, right? In the industry, they're looking for what society is going to accept. So you look at the first girl who performed, she's society acceptable. She had the long fake hair, right? The long fake hair, the light
Nice
skin, the big
complexion.
fake boobs, you know, like she was what
Is
society
attractive to
acceptable.
the eye. Yeah, attractive to the
Attractive,
eye.
you feel me? Attractive to the societal eye, right? Now you look at the second girl who performed, who obviously sang better. She had a better stage performance. She was actually filling it into like the first girl. She couldn't sing. She
At
cracked in her
all.
voice. She was cracking. She had no stage performance. She was just standing there. Like her stage performance sucked, right? Mark, I'm so glad you brought this because I'm a music critique for real. Don't get me started, okay, y'all. Look, okay. The second girl, she sang better. You can hear her notes. They flowed. But she didn't look like what society is gonna accept because she was dark, right? She had her body covered up, so she had respect for herself to go in there with those platform of men, right? Who she was performing for to get their attention. But she's trying to get their attention with her actual voice because that's where the talent is. The talent isn't in what you look like; it's in what you can do with your voice. So she was covered up. Her hair, right? We saw how she was rocking with her hair. You feel me? The little natural locks going. It's not society acceptable. It is not society acceptable. She didn't look like what would be accepted to society. She sex sells. She wasn't sexy enough. Sex sells, and she wasn't sexy enough for their platform. That's what it was. That's period. Whether it's colorist or whatever you want to call it, sex sells, and she wasn't sexy enough for the platform that they portray.
Absolutely.
She obviously had the better performance, right? Because she had stage performance. She was into it. She was feeling it. She sang better. You heard her notes. You were able to hear her notes and hear her key and hear her tone. The first girl, she cracked. You couldn't hear her really good, you know. Her stage performance sucked because she was just, you know, summer walking it, just standing there. So calling it what it is society acceptance for the industry. And the second girl who sang, the darker girl, she didn't look, her looks didn't portray what the music industry, and it depends on what, you know, the type of music. And Rick Rock's genre, hip hop, rap, you feel me, sex sales.
Yeah, but he had the dream there also. The dream was there, and that's the sad part about it.
And that's the sad part. And that's the sad part. It makes you realize who really sees it and who really doesn't.
They were like, okay, so she was like, yes, her song was better than yours. Me personally, I love music. I love writing music. I am a music writer, okay? And I know what sounds good and what doesn't sound good. And the first one did not sound good. She was trying to, so when it was just her own little personal interview, she was trying to sound like she was intelligent. You know what I'm saying? She was like,
exactly.
I'm valedictorian in here. It's valedictorian, isn't she? Like you're right. You are valedictorian because you're only like you're appeasing to the male pelvic area, and that's about it. You have no respect for yourself. You like women that like degrade themselves, sell themselves for the music industry. I feel really bad for them because at the end of the day, like you're literally selling yourself to an industry that is all about sex, money, and drugs, and that's about it. And if you don't appease to those three areas of that industry, of that popular industry, you're gonna do horrible. And she obviously wasn't, and she's a darker skinned woman, you know what I'm saying? And already like that puts you in a horrible situation. Like Mr. Gadiel said about the whole paper bag test. Before Black women of any color on the color spectrum could even get on TV, they used to put a paper bag up to them, and if you were darker than that paper bag, you were not good enough to go up on TV. That's a fact. So that's kind of like what they're doing here. Her voice sucked. Like you said, her performance sucked. Her lyrics sucked. She had no real authenticity to her performance at all. So she was like, man, I wasn't trying to throw her under the bus, but but you already knew what it was. Rick Ross is definitely a womanizer, and not only that, but he's the fakest man in the industry. If we want to talk about what's real and what's authentic, he stole a whole nother man's identity. Jail guard in prison. Definitely watch that documentary about the real Rick Ross and how basically the government helped that Rick Ross to push drugs in the United States into the hoods and into the ghetto to harm our community. He's fake. And people don't know it was swept under the rug, but that dude took him to court. And because that man had more money than Rick Ross, because he lost everything, when you're indicted, they take everything.
Everything.
And you never know where does those drugs go? Where does that money go? It goes right back into
into the communities.
So
absolutely.
Right back into the communities.
He's just a fake person, and y'all. Either way it goes, I don't trust anything that man.
I'm not taking Rick Ross's word for music, and now, and then it sucks that the dream was there because prior to this video, I had respect for the dream. Prior to this video, I had a little bit of respect for the dream. But people who I'm gonna take actual musical critiques from and listen to their opinion is Wale. Okay. Wale. Wale is somebody who I would definitely because he listens to music. He listens to the music, and you can tell because he speaks about listening to the music. He speaks, he has his music about sex, money, and drugs. He has those, but the deepness of him overpowers all of that. He only has a few about the sex, drugs, and money. Just a few. But about the realness of what's going on in the world, that's where his majority is at, J. Cole.
And he loves dark women.
You go look at Wale's videos, pay attention to what type of women he has in his music videos. Pay attention to what type of women he has in his music videos. It speaks for itself.
Absolutely.
Trey Songz may not be the most upstanding celebrity, but you look at his music videos and pay attention to what type of women he portrays in his music videos.
Very true.
I just really, I just want to throw this out there though, because I feel like it's super important that we throw this out there. Again, the music industry promotes sexual behavior, sex in general. So a lot of times they're promoting whoredom for our people. That's who they're selling them. That's who their music appeals to is people of color. And so a lot of times, we look at that as being the end all be all, light skin, big booty. She has to dress like this. She has to be like that. But then when you have another woman with a different, that deviates from that image that society tries to push, she doesn't get the acceptance of society. But if she's accepted by society and she's promoted by society, then I would question, where else she's compromising, because a lot of times behind closed doors, things have to happen in order for you to be put up on that stature, being put in that limelight. So
Ari Lennox. When you look at Ari Lennox, she's in limbo right now, but she had made a decision either last year or 2019 where she said she was stepping away from the music industry, and mainly because she doesn't give the music industry what the music industry wants her to give them. She doesn't talk about, she's not whorish. Right, her music is not whorish. Ari Lennox, she comes in it with a different flow. She comes with a different flow. She's not Meg Thee Stallion. She's not Cardi B. She comes in a different way, and she's with her dark skinness. She was dismissed in a lot of lights. So the music that she really wants to make, the industry told her you cannot make that music.
I don't know. Isn't she signed on to J. Cole's his label still?
I'm not sure.
I thought that's who she was signed to, and I don't know. I have hate love relationship with Ari Lennox because some of her music is very like it's very good, but then there's like there was this album that she put out where she was like wearing weird this, you know. So I don't know. Her songs are good, but then when it comes to like trying to sell herself, she has to, I don't know.
I definitely agree with everything that's been said. I mean, as far as Rick Ross being a colorist, I'd like to know how many other scenarios like this have happened. But for him specifically, I definitely feel like he was paying attention more to, her being appealing to the social eye than the actual talent that each competitor was presenting. Because I mean, like you guys said, and like Gadio said, like it's a night and day performance. I feel like man, gotta stop supporting. Absolutely. I mean,
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Dang. Oh yeah. Basically, I mean, definitely the dark skinned beautiful woman was definitely way better than her. I think that's the part that really just made me mad the most, and which is why I wanted to bring it to the podcast, because like I don't understand. And then the comments they were making, like he said, I don't think this is the platform for your voice. Like, what does that entail? This is a singing competition. Like, how do you not go with the best singer? You feel me? Or what exactly is the platform?
What are we really judging? What are we really
exactly
judging? We're not judging the voice, the
exactly
voice, right? The musical talent. Then what are you really judging?
And if you listen to the light skinned girl, she even admitted that she basically went back in the past and just basically sang over everything that is something that he already liked or had experience with. But then the girl with her original piece sang better than her, made her own lyrics, and they had basically the same melody kinda, but she almost did everything better besides look the part. So I mean, if we could jump into the article, I mean, it kind of speaks to it just a little bit more, but the article pretty much says all that we've been saying already. I mean, definitely, man, and like just to add more to that, I haven't heard of Just Britney ever since. So somebody has to know that her musical talent is not the best. At least I would have definitely liked Rick Ross to lean more towards the dark skinned girl.
And that's the sad part. That just shows you like the self-hatred that's there because he's dark as hell. He's black. So like that's just that like man. I can only speak from my own perspective. I was the only light-skinned daughter of 3 that my mother had, and both of my sisters were darker than me. And there was always like a preference, like even like favoritism almost for the lighter skinned sister, you know what I'm saying, which didn't make any sense. And now like I always give my darker skinned sisters, the praise that they deserve, because it's not easy being a darker skinned sister in American society at all. So
especially in situations like this where you're like, what was I about to say? Dang, like, oh, I forget the word I'm trying to use, but like in situations like this where it's like on the tip of my tongue too, but like basically where like it's like something with the A. I don't know why I can't find this word for anything, but yeah, I mean, I'm really mad at myself that I can't.
Anyway.
This is crazy. Hold on, I gotta Google it. Can we pull up the article?
Pull the article up real quick. Okay. So, Rick Ross is accused of colorism over resurfaced clip from reality show. Look at him. He's black. What is he doing?
Y'all, it was appearance. I can't believe I couldn't think of appearance.
Get lost in the nighttime type of black.
Exactly.
Not laughing. I'm sorry. Okay. It looks like. Oh.
Go ahead, Tabitha.
It looks like Rick Ross is receiving some criticism after a 2017 clip from the VH1 competition Signed resurfaced. The 44-year-old rapper is now being accused of being colorist and misogynistic. The purpose of the TV show was to discover new hip hop and R&B talents who would compete for the chance to be signed to a major record label. The judges for the music competition included rapper Rick Ross, singer/producer The Dream, and music exclusive Lenny S. Music executive Lenny S. Exclusive. Why did I say that? Anyway. So yes, y'all.
After seeing the video, I would agree with those accusations. I wouldn't quite put it past him. Now I would have to see and watch other episodes of the show because I never watched it. So I would have to see how see his behavior through the whole time. But
Is that tab? Can you just scroll up just a little bit?
Yes, sir. These are Twitter comments.
Yeah, right to that quote there.
With this one?
Go up just a little bit more.
Okay.
The quote literally right above this.
Right there.
So again, he says that wasn't the best platform for your voice. You have a unique voice, and Brit did sound better than yours. Like, what did he listen to?
What did you listen to?
Like
you watched our boobs.
Exactly. Like, and like he was vibing to more of like the soundtrack than he was to her voice.
Exactly.
Like, think about the last part of what he said. He didn't say Brit's song sounded better than yours. He said Brit did sound better than yours. I don't know if I'm just looking at playing on semantics, but he's saying that a person sounded better than the other song. So I think that, that goes to show that he was looking more on the outward appearance rather than, what was being brought out.
That's a good point. I mean, man, it's like we've already said. I mean, we're not rich and we're not producers, and we haven't made necessarily millions off of making songs or whatnot. But like, that's terrible judgment, and for the others to sit there and agree with him, I feel like it's kind of like not necessarily like social loafing, but just like being in agreement with like the next person over. Like, I don't know. I think definitely somebody, exactly. I think somebody should have definitely set the record straight because Kaya did much better than just Britney. I mean, and Twitter is the worst person to have against you, man, because they gonna drag you. They gonna drag you.
Find out. Don't let Twitter find out.
I like this comment though. He said, if you don't know why he chose the thought, then IDK what to tell you. Them niggas be colorists. The second girl sounded way better and looked way better. But I know why he chose the first girl. It's because his foul ass hates dark-skinned women. He's foul. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, oh yeah, like Twitter will drag you. But
yeah,
I mean, we pretty much said it all.
But I know we say guilty till proven innocent, but like with shit like this, it's like it's you can't put it past them because you see it happen too often. To not believe it's true. And then just looking at who is giving the assessment. I'm not gonna take Rick Ross on anything that he says. His word is not bond to me, so his judgment definitely sucks.
I think I would have rathered him just keep it a whole buck. Like, listen, I think she would sell more because
and they don't know how. They don't do that. They
exactly.
don't do that. You gotta keep it a buck. And You do. You just got to keep it a buck. The music industry is a lucrative business. So
Absolutely. And it's exactly as you all said. I mean, sex sells, and they're gonna make sales based off of the appearance and what's appealing. But I would have rather him, keep it a whole buck. Like, your voice is a lot better than hers, but just like,
are
yeah,
gonna
off
sell.
looks, she would sell more. Or at least, if not Rick Ross, I would have,
And probably because
because
she's
the
doing
dream.
doing more, behind the scenes than what's being shown on. Okay, let me stop.
You're probably right. That happens a lot. You're
Most
probably right.
most women in the music industry, they're a bunch of queens. And I'm not talking about the one with the double E. I'm talking about the one with the A. They're a bunch of queens. I
Oh,
just I just don't even. It's a bunch of prostitution that's taking place. Because think about it. You have sex sales. You're selling sex. So when you're selling sex, what are you selling? You're prostituting yourself out to society, to the society at large. So I think that, I don't know. I don't know. Sex sells and pimps. It's just the industry of pimps and hoes. They're selling sex. That's what pimps and hoes do. They sell sex. So
exactly. I mean, and I rock with the dream, and I feel like he definitely, like, I guess not now, but like, I feel like he definitely had an eye for good music. So even him agreeing with Rick Ross, I don't even really, I don't know. It's crazy to me. That's crazy. I hope Kaya finds success in this music industry despite, all of what's clearly against her. Because that was okay. So a final decision. Would you call Rick Ross a colorist?
Yes.
absolutely.
Respect. I do agree. I mean,
A colorist. I'll call him an imposter, a colorist, all kind of is.
yeah,
Clone.
all that is facts.
Fakest.
Definitely, and I'm definitely just curious to know like how many times this has happened in the music industry. I mean, probably more than we could count, but definitely bringing this to light. Hey, I mean,
I just think the music industry needs to go back to looking for stars, and talent, because everybody's not a star. Like, you look, we have a lot of people who can make music, but you're not a star because your stage performance sucked. Everybody doesn't have natural stage performance; it has to be taught. So, okay, so I think it was one of the 2020 awards. I can't think of which one because I really don't keep up with all that stuff. Not my prerogative. I don't get paid for none of that. So, but I know that Lil Baby and The Baby was both up for one of the same awards, Best Artist, I think, and The Baby won over Little Baby, and there was a little controversy over that. And I had to explain to some people that the reason why The Baby won is because he has stage performance, and he has bomb stage performance. I mean, he performs. He is an entertainer. You feel me? So he's doing what he gets paid to do. He's an entertainer. His stage performance is natural. Lil Baby don't have no stage performance.
good music, no stage.
Lil Baby, I like his music because I understand it. Not everybody can understand Lil Baby, and that is why he's not. That's another reason why he can't be the best artist, right? But I can understand Lil Baby, and I like Lil Baby, but his stage performance sucks. He doesn't have the best stage performance. He does not entertain me on stage. His music videos are entertaining because there's other stuff going on. But as far as like a live performance,
The Baby wins.
The Baby wins because he's gonna own the entire stage. He's gonna own left center, front center, back center. He's gonna own the entire stage. He's gonna learn left corner, all of it. He's gonna own the stage. He's gonna hit his mark everywhere. Lil Baby, he's gonna try to, but he's not gonna get there just because it's not in him. He don't know how. All he's trying to do is make sure he gets his words out because he already mumbling. So he got to focus on making sure he get his words out clearly enough for the people to understand him. And that's what the difference is. And there's too many people who do not have that stage performance anymore.
I feel that because I don't know how many of y'all watched that rapping competition that was on Netflix, and like Cardi B and other, like,
I can't think of what it's called, but yes, I
Me
watched
neither.
that was a good show because one, it shows you about like who's able to control, like who's able to do the whole stage presence and stuff like that. And not only that, but I feel like when it came to certain people in the show, I feel like I don't know if you guys know who London B is that was on that
Yes,
show,
ma'am.
but I feel like they gave her way too many chances, and I don't know if it was because because she's not really a light skinned sister, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I think we're
I
just
think and I think it depends. You gotta look at it and see. Competition wise, I think the three judges that they had was perfect. I think they could have had somebody better than Cardi B. They feel like they could have had somebody who's been in the game longer and knows more. But I mean, she was entertainment as far as judges go, right? And I was really looking at judgment from Ti and Chance. But as far as competition, I think what they were really looking for is for somebody who can take it in the music industry. If you can take my critique and you can take my criticism and you can take me going hard on you like this and you never fail and you keep coming, and I give you criticism and you come back harder, that means you can survive in the music industry. I think that's what Tip and Chance was really looking for. People who can survive in the music industry, because you have to have thick skin for it. You have to have thick skin for it. And I think that's what they were looking for. And I think London B is somebody who can survive in the music industry. You have to be able to survive. You have to be able to take what you have going on in your personal life and in the music life people throwing at you. You got to be able to take it. And some of them people
100%.
on them shows, you can tell they wasn't going to be able to survive.
Absolutely. But I mean, this will conclude our podcast for today. Just a brief overview. We had Ti and Tiny's allegations. I'm gonna say hopefully it's not true from a fan base perspective. But if it is, I hope they get the justice that they deserve. I mean, ultimately, sexual abuse is definitely something that goes under the radar a lot. So it's not really hard to put past us, but we just don't really see that from Ti and Tiny like that. But yeah, and then we had the 9-year-old girl that was unfortunately handcuffed and pepper sprayed after being in the squad car. Unnecessary, really sad to hear. And like Gaddio said, hopefully they sue for as much money as they can, because that's just ridiculous. I mean, I'm not gonna say good into what ifs, but just ridiculous and sad, and they could have really hurt that girl, permanently damaged. And then we ended it off with our discussion question: is Rick Ross a colorist? They had two competitors, just Brittany and Kaya. One dark skin. We believe the dark skin. We and a lot of people agree that the dark skinned girl did much better than her, sang better, had better stage presence, but because just Brittany is appealing to the social eye, she was unfortunately not given the same opportunity as just Brittany. But we thank you all for joining us.
Just real quick, we don't know how. That's why I want to see other situations and other scenarios, because taking color away from it, right? Just looking at them as black women, right? Taking
Right.
light skin and dark skin away, taking that away, you look at the respect that they have for themselves. So let's that's why I want to see it, because if they were both two light-skinned women, but one of the light-skinned women was dressed how the dark-skinned woman was, how would Rick Ross have responded to that? Or if it was two dark-skinned women, one was dressed like just Brittany and the other one was dressed like Kaya, how would he respond to that? That's what I kind of want to base it off. But I want to see how they will respond put in a situation with two women of the same skin tone.
Absolutely.
Because when it comes down to it, it's just Kaya had more respect for herself.
But she sang a lot better.
Not as a dark-skinned woman, not as a light-skinned woman, but just as a black
As a woman.
Just as a black woman, she just had more respect for herself than just Brittany did going into that. And that
100%. I agree completely. But yes, you all, this will conclude our podcast. Be sure to follow us on all of our social platforms. We have Malcolm Make a Chess Move, Malcolm Make a Culture Move, Virtual Art of Storytelling, Pushing Pawns. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at Malcolm303. Follow us on Twitter at Malcolm303. Subscribe to our YouTube. Oh, and we have Pinterest at Macam303 as well. Subscribe to our YouTube at Macam Make a Chess Move. Be sure to follow us on Virtual Artist Storytelling as well, but we will not be having it this week, but we'll be jumping right back into Vast Series 2 the following week. So bees, look out for that. Another week of amazing guests. But with that, we say peace to you all and y'all Macam out there.
Y'all